Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today's topic is going to be the latest iteration of the Summon Pool, specifically the Protector Summon Pool 2 for 2025. And in this case, we have a bunch of like HP-based champions, and of course the headline champion is more of the Demon Spawn Chaos Awakes showcasing champion, so Grakos Turndrake, who I've not seen anything crazy from, but he is nonetheless one of those block damage, 4-turn cooldown, 2-turn duration champions, so he can definitely, or sorry, 1-turn duration on the block damage on a 3-turn cooldown, my bad. But yeah, he is another block damage champion, so maybe if you're more in the early game, he can kind of be like a Warcaster-esque champion, help you out progressing into Demon Lord clan boss maybe. But other than that, I don't really see many people getting that use out of him, particularly as you scale more into the end game. But anyways, yeah, the summon pool. So once again, pretty standard format. We're pretty used to this at this point. There's a headline champion, which has the highest chance if you happen to get a legendary. If you happen to get a legendary, there's not really that great of options. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Nothing amazing. I think Snick Track is somewhat underrated, but he's also not the most useful champion in the current meta, at least in the end game. But ally protection, reflect damage, and his passive increases reflect damage, or the damage felt by that. But again, this is more potent when you have a high amount of stats. So enemy combatants that have snake tracks are very, very tanky, and you will murder yourself if you attack him. But using him into other enemies, you're not really going to reflect that much damage because you just can't scale your stats as high. Krokmar is pretty cool. He's one of those champions who's really helpful in the Curse City if you happen to have him. AB on the A1 if he's critical. He like destroys stats with his passive, I believe. Yeah, whenever he attacks, he destroys stats, or decreases their stats, which is kind of nice. Bells was a guaranteed champion last year. He's kind of useful like late game. Yeah. Hydra, if you really need a HP based DPS who can do some block buffs and leech. I think Ugo is still kind of better, but he is a little bit more DPS-y than her. Arashi the Riptide, he's kind of somewhat underwhelming from what I've seen and heard, but he is nonetheless one of the champions who can ignore Stone Skin on the A2 here and ignore some defense, so that should hit pretty hard. I don't know. I haven't really seen enough of him to know that if he's decent enough. I think he's probably fine for most people, but he's just not going to scale into like super whale cracking end game territory. So kind of grain of salt, but he might be decent enough for us laymen out there. Operating Clan Father kind of saw his resurgence with the Chimera. He's kind of useful for that when paired with Senate Emberheart, I believe is her name. But lots of continuous heals, lots of turn meter. Knock the Paralyzer can help CC with the sleep, also some poison, so a little bit of damage, and heals your team a lot with every time the enemy takes a tick from poison damage, so you can provide a lot of healings on top of that. You provide ally protection for your squad as well as continuous heals, so it's pretty decent for that. Knave of Hearts, I don't know. He seemed really underwhelming when he came out with the Queen of Hearts or Alice in Wonderland event, but nonetheless he is a hero reduction champion, and it's protected, so he can be useful for Amius if you're really struggling to place hero reduction on him. And then Alsgore Crimsonhorn is another one of those block damage 4-turn one of the champions who has block damage for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown, so he can do that, but he does a little bit more than that. But buff strip with some heals. Heals here again. It can increase duration and debuffs on the enemies, so he's pretty useful. But I think if you pull Helikath, you pull Roshkar the Tower, you're kind of set already. But nonetheless, he can work in those Iron Twins teams as well if you want to use him for that. But yeah, legendaries, honestly, they're kind of underwhelming, not gonna lie. So there's not really anything to get super excited about here in terms of like really meta champions. In terms of the epics, though, a lot better. We have Alyssania, who is a Lady Mikage epic if you do need her for that purpose. But yeah, do it in the runic is decent. Can be a cleanser, a little bit of a protector for faction wars, stuff like that. Hard mode as well. Husk, one of the best like mid game Hydra champions, provoke on the A1, enemy max SP hit on the A2. I still use him on my Nightmare Hydra team, for example. Tarage the Frog, one of the best early game champions in the game for Demon Lord clan boss. Passive can place poisons when he's hit, and especially on affinity when he's doing the quad hitter, that's a lot of poisons potentially. But ally protection, great for the nested ally protection teams, and then decrease attack on the A1 to help you take less damage. Vrask, one of the best epic healers in the game. As long as he crits, he can heal by a percentage of his max HP. So I like him in retaliation sets. It works a little bit better in my opinion than Relentless. Getting extra turns. Vogoth, one of the best, another one of the best healers in the game with his passive. But whenever he's attacked, he heals allies by 50% of the damage received. So you want him to take more damage. and then he will heal everyone else by some subset of that. Great for Bommel as well, keeping your team alive with the bombs. He basically counters the Dread Bombs on Bommel. Magnar, the best epic-based, HP-based nuker. So, you know, lots of good pickings. Miscreated Monster, great for early game Spider, and a little bit of Faction Wars as well for the AoE stun. But yeah, I think, honestly, crazy enough, the epics are better than the legendaries in this set, especially if you don't have one of them. But if you do have all of them, then the summon pool is really, really garbage, not gonna lie. In that case, you know, kind of alluding to where I stand on this one. But it's 40 fragments to get yourself a summon, and this is effectively a Sacred Shard, so 6% chance to get a legendary. And one of these legendaries, again, we talked about how underwhelming those are, with the highest chance being, of course, for Grokos, Turn Drake, and then 94% chance. The most likely outcome, I always have to like to say, is getting an epic, so don't get too excited or don't get too disappointed if you don't get a legendary from one summon. And the free summon, unfortunately, in this case is, well, I mean, maybe not unfortunately, but it is from the Sand Devil or the Gear Ascension tournament, so you can run Sand Devil or a Fan of Shogun's Grove, but it's all the way out there at 12,000 points, which is pretty darn hefty. So I don't know. This is one of those things where, like, just the timing of it doesn't really line up for me personally, but you might be focusing on other things, and this might be right in your wheelhouse of what you're focusing on right now. But for me, I'm trying to finish up this Dragon Tournament Demon Spawn only. There's a Fire Knight Turn Attack starting tomorrow that has Demon Slayer Titan event points. There's also an Event Dungeon Tournament starting tomorrow that has more Titan event points. And as I've mentioned before, my free-to-play review for the Demon Slayer Titan event itself, I'm trying to go all the way out there to milestone 5, so I need as many of these points as I can get, bar the 250 that you're allowed to skip. And so I'm going to be spending my energy on, you know, all 3 of these dungeon tournaments over the next few days, which entirely eclipses the duration of the Gear Ascension tournament. So it just happens to not really line up with where I need to prioritize my energy in the short term. On top of it being a fairly underwhelming pool, I'm not really that motivated to burn some gems in excess to try and max this out. Instead of just focusing on what is available for the other dungeons. So yeah, not that exciting in my case, but again, you might be different. You might be not caring at all about the Demon Slayer Titan event. You might have nothing else to burn your energy on. This might be a great deal. You might not be as critical of the legendaries and or the epics as I am, and so maybe getting a free summon could be right up your alley. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this Protector Summon Pool 2 in the comment section down below. Do you feel the same way I do about the legendary options? I think they're just not that great. They're decent. They're like a lot of B tier, C tier champions, but nothing like super S tier, something amazing or anything like that. And the epics can be useful if you don't have any one of them in particular. Just more so, I guess, if you're more in the early game, it's probably more beneficial. Maybe the mid game, if you're missing with them, or you want some empowerment for stuff like that, that could be helpful. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the summon pool overall in the comment section down below. As always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below, and feel free to hit that subscribe button down below as well if you are enjoying the content on this channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good one.